And hello, Bills Mafia. It is time to chat about Bills Jets and the words of the day: yards over expected.
2-0.
I'm the big O Jerry Ostrowski. Josh Allen knows football. Get it? Knows. This is Locked On, and you're watching Bill Squad.
Who's ready, Bills Mafia? It's the Bills Squad. Everything Buffalo Bills, every week. Breaking down the big hits and game-changing plays the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So gear up and squad up. The Bill Squad show starts now.
And welcome in, Bills Mafia. We are wrapping up the Bills win over the Jets, a final score, a dominant final score victory for the Bills here as they go 30-10 and beat the Jets. And we are off to 2-0. Joe Marino doing his best Joe Marino doing his best Joe Brady impression there. 2-0, just the 1-0 marker. The Bills win pretty much start to finish, a dominant performance. We'll talk about Josh Allen. We'll talk about James Cook. We'll talk about Joey Bosa and plenty here as the Bills get the victory, and it's a sizable victory, a convincing victory. Joe Marino, opening thoughts on this game, on how things went for the Bills. It's not lost on me. Both Buffalo and Baltimore kind of did the same thing today, right? Returned to earth in terms of the teams they play and show the difference in the AFC from the best teams and the not best teams.
Yeah, my prevailing thought right now is just really different teams with the Bills and Jets in terms of where they're at. You know, the Bills 9 years into this McDermott Bean situation compared to like game 2 of where the Jets are at, you can kind of feel it where, you know, the Bills blew out the Jets and Josh Allen didn't score a touchdown. They didn't have to force anything. The Bills offense, I would say, for the most part, really didn't have much rhythm all game. But the Jets continue to beat themselves, whether it was their own mistakes, play calling, unbelievably weird coaching decisions. And the Bills are like, okay, we'll take short yards, we'll take points, we'll run the ball. And then just the depth of the teams, where the Jets just didn't have the guys to be able to hang late in that game. They don't have the depth on defense. And so I thought you just saw what a team in year 1 of a build looks like compared to year 9.
Yeah. Jerry?
I think exactly. I mean, the Bills came out, did exactly what they needed to do. They took care of business. I thought that on defense, it was, okay, let's stop the run. Let's work on some things that we know we have some issues with. And they did that, got a little bit more comfortable in how they want to fit things and everything. But as Joe said, I mean, this was a situation where the Bills knew who they were. They just made sure they didn't make the big mistakes and put themselves in bad situations and let the Jets take care of themselves. I mean, you know, and I thought it was very workmanlike. I mean, other than the nose issue with our quarterback, came out pretty clean as far as injuries go. I'd wonder if Haley is already on the phone with Hollywood's finest plastic surgeons to make sure that her bae doesn't have a busted up nose for the rest of their marriage. So anyway, good performance by the Bills. I was happy with them across the board.
Yeah, you know, this game, Allen gets that injury to the nose. Michael Clemens hits him in the nose, and I feel like every Bills fan will forever remember Jim Nantz uttering the words, or maybe it was Romo, "This is serious. This is serious." They said on the broadcast. I think, hey, I'm already freaking out enough. You know, I don't need you to tell me that it's serious. The fact that he walked off and, you know, got down to the trainer, I'm you know, in my head thinking, how bad could it be? What could really be happening here? So no doubt Allen goes in and was going to play through that. Joe, how surprised were you and Mitch Trubisky? Hey, first snap, this isn't a handoff. We're going at Sauce Gardner down the field.
A dime. Cold off the bench, a dime on third down. I mean, that was a heck of a throw. And I'm anxious to hear what Jerry has to say about this. Should Josh have just stayed down? Like, I thought that put the team in a bad spot by running off the field on third down. Like, hopefully Trubisky has his helmet near him, like they can go out there and run this play. There was no timeout, right? The guy just came in and threw the ball. I'm surprised Josh didn't stay down. I mean, I'm guessing he wanted to just get out of there. I can only imagine. I'm sure there was a lot of pain. You take a shot to the nose or whatever. Like, sometimes you can't breathe well. But that was kind of a goofy situation. Yeah, Trubisky with one of those unbelievable plays early on to go with the Josh scramble and then that James Cook touchdown run that I'm sure we'll talk all about.
Exactly. Football tactics, football logics, you stay down. Coaches want you to stay on the field. That way Trubisky can get some throws and all that. So, but I also get the other side of the coin. the whole warrior mentality. I don't get carried off the field. Nobody comes out to have to take care of me. But yeah, logic is you stay down so whoever's coming in for you can get prepared and they can make decisions based on what's going on.
Yeah. Sometimes a player rushes off. You must feel like there's got to be discomfort, or they know something, like whatever's happening, tend to this right away. But throughout the game, mistakes, a big storyline here, right? Allen kind of gets away with an intentional grounding because Michael Clemens gets a roughing the passer, just a silly play from the Jets. Over and over again, they made their mistakes. Their head coach, Aaron Glenn's going to talk about all the mistakes they made. He made mistakes. The punts in this game from Aaron Glenn, as wimpy as they get, like you're at underdog, you're at home. What kind of season are you going to have? And just very little belief in what he had in front of him. Justin Fields, I feel like we got the full Justin Fields experience, right? Week 1, Joe, he puts together a nice performance. Week 2, they have one completion late in the third quarter. And it's just like, yeah, that's why this guy's on his third team in 3 years. And that's why, whatever. Like, I feel like now that the game is over, I should have seen all this coming, regardless of any sort of defensive injuries. Like, Sean McDermott's not going to get beat by a Justin Fields offense really anytime, anywhere.
No, and Fields with the inaccurate throw on that first third down, and then it was just, how do you, like, you're watching him play, how do you take the sack, right? It's just situationally, he just doesn't get it. Like, he's very capable. He can make big plays, but consistency is just not there for Justin Fields. And I know that, like, we want to attack this game from so many Bills angles. I can't stop thinking about what the Jets' entire approach to how they chose to play this football game. Aaron Glenn cut the kick returner this week for making a mistake. He's preaching toughness and all these things, and he's putting his team in these types of positions at home when you're a home dog against the Bills. I mean, if I'm a Jets fan today, I am wondering what the capacity is of Aaron Glenn to coach his football team and be the right guy. If I'm Quentin Williams and they're punting that ball or they're running that draw, they ran that draw early on 3rd and 10. I said, please let this be a draw play. And then it was. I mean, just literally doing the things of the Jet that the Bills hope that they do. I don't know about this Aaron Glenn already.
Well, I think the biggest thing is sometimes when you get former players that are coaches, they go back into player mode and how it was when they played, and you're trying to make a statement and all those things. And I get it. I mean, I know what Aaron Glenn's trying to do. He's trying to eliminate mistakes, trying to build that culture. But, you look at this game today, in the first 10 minutes, the game was over. I mean, Fields had plays to be made. There was receivers open. He didn't hit them by a wide margin. And, it was one of those situations where they get behind. But I'm with Jeremy and the fact that, why are we punting the ball if you just came from a guy that goes for it on 4th down more than anybody in the league?
Yeah.
You're trying to establish all these things and toughness and faith in your team to where they have trust in you and, vice versa. And today he coached scared. Like, he coached like, what he coached like? He coached like a 1AA team coming into an SEC stadium, and Jeremy put this on Twitter. I thought it was awesome.
Man.
It was a great assessment. He goes, "This is like the, what did you say? This is like the week
2.
Yeah, this is the week 2. Go ahead, say it.
Because always what happens, right? Like Alabama, the way that college football works now, you play a good game in week 1, and then what's week 2? Tune-up. Valdosta State, all due respect to the Blazers.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this looked like. It looked like the week 2 tune-up. We saw Ohio State and Texas in the opener, and then, all right, time to take a nice little, let's go ahead and get not quite back to the preseason. I don't want to take that much of a shot at the Jets, but really, the Ravens and the Bills both went back to their divisions that they usually win, and, they reminded everybody, like, we're a cut above, and the Jets, man, like, their coach wasn't up for it. Their team wasn't up for it. These end-around plays that they were just, like, right into the teeth of what the Bills were. The Bills were so prepared for those. Joe, like, the whole thing looked to me like this Jets team got outplayed, outcoached, outclassed.
Yeah, they saw a couple end-arounds from Zay Flowers last week and said, we'd like to do some of that. They saw some Lamar Jackson success with zone read and said, we'd like to try some of that. And the Bills were certainly ready for it. I think they approach those plays a little bit differently, where they had some secondary contain baked in and allowed the defensive ends to kind of crash down and play more of the run option on some of those plays. But I think the maturity of the Bills really shined in this type of game, where you don't have to force anything. Just let it play out. The Jets are not, they don't have the right stuff. You feel like defensively you're going to be able to contain them. It wasn't the type of game where you needed to press or force anything. And you just, I mean, it's like, it's some versions, the divisional round win over the Baltimore Ravens last year, where all right, we'll make a few plays that we need to make, but ultimately we don't think you have the stuff to stay in this game. Let's get out of this thing with a 20-point win on the road.
Giving you instant reaction here to the Bills win over the Jets. You can jump in with us here, of course. Leave a comment. We'll get some comments later on. We'll break down everything that happened in this game, from James Cook being a star of the show to Joey Bosa. Joe, I want to give you credit. I feel like you this week said this was going to be a Bosa game. Like he was going to have himself a game, and he sure did.
Yeah, you watch the Bosa tape against the Ravens and watch the Jets tape against the Steelers. You knew that this was a ripe opportunity for Bosa. He's playing well. He's getting off the ball. The moves are there. The physicality's there. And obviously he felt his presence. 2 forced fumbles, a strip sack. He's close on other sacks. Stay healthy, right? That's what it comes down to. This guy looking like vintage Bosa. Stay healthy and help this team down the stretch.
Getting some connection issues with Jerry. We'll try to reconnect with them as best we can, but we'll get some of your comments here and keep rolling. It is the Bill Squad show. Of course, we do shows after every game and our weekly show as well. Thanks for jumping in, be a part of us. You can always see us here streaming live on YouTube. You can give us a like, give us a subscribe. So, Joe, one thing I wanted to bring up. We talked so much. Well, let's get to Bosa in a minute, but James Cook is a big star of this game, huge star of this game. We saw an encore of his touchdown run against the Chiefs in this game. Extra effort. That's 1 yard, but that's such an amazing play from Cook. And then maybe the best run of his career that he breaks later. And I keep going back to this phrase, the yards over expected. It's 2 straight years that Cook has given the Bills a top 10 ranking in that number. And all the guys that are good at that are the best backs in the league. I know he's not perfect. I know we spent a lot of time talking pass protection, but to me, the money was well spent because of the skill set that he brings, and that was on full display today. Yards over expected.
He's got big plays in his bag. They're just there. They've been too consistent to act like it's fluky. This guy knows how to hit a big run and usually at a big moment that can break open a game or shift momentum, and it's huge. To be able to get explosive plays in that way is such a fun layer to how potent this Bills offense overall can be. And, we had to have a lot of honest conversations about James Cook that were really rooted in what is the fair contract. It wasn't that he couldn't do this stuff. This is the stuff that you love. But when you start to, land in the appropriate place for a contract, that's where that conversation gets a little sideways. But yeah, spectacular plays and even, some of those situations kind of grinding out some tougher yards. This guy's making big plays, and it's such a nice compliment to what this offense is overall.
Jerry on James Cook.
I think the funny thing is we talk about offensive linemen and how they fit Aaron Kromer's system. I think you got to look now at running backs and how they fit Aaron Kromer's system. and James Cook does a tremendous job of meshing with what he wants to do up front in that wide zone that Kromer preaches and runs with that Bills offensive line. It's really awesome to see. The more I watch him, the more I think this might be a top 5 zone running back. I don't know if I'm ready to say ever, but he's getting up there. He's got amazing vision and patience and shiftiness, and complements what they do up front so well.
Jerry, how about some of those turnout blocks by Osiris Torrance? The Bills are setting up some of those mid zones, and his ability to turn, like he literally, took defensive tackles and completely shifted where they were trying to defend to create some of those cutbacks. I think this, obviously the run game was very good, but you could kind of see where some even more explosive runs are going to come as they're really close on breaking out a few additional runs than they had in this game.
Well, I think, again, that's using what Torrance does well. He's a big physical guy. He can grab onto you and turn you, and that's what he does well. So, again, I like that. I like some of the short-yardage stuff where they brought Alec Anderson in and made it look like they're going to run that smash down, outside zone where he washes the end of the line of scrimmage, and then they change it up and he blocks out and they fold Dalton, not Dalton, but I always forget our other tight end's name, 88.
Dawson.
They fold
Dawson
him.
Knox.
Yeah, Dawson Knox. They fold him back inside, get some short yardage play. See, I feel bad. I've already forgot about Dawson Knox. I've got Jackson Halls on the brain, and can't get over it. So, but yeah, really good stuff on change-ups and things like that. I thought they did a good job.
The Bills got contributions from a lot of different players in this game, whether it's Cook or Keon Coleman out there, Josh Palmer. Guys, I'm seeing a growing chemistry between Allen and Josh Palmer. I think that is very clear. Like, Allen is looking for him. Who knows if that one pass doesn't get batted out of his hand as he's throwing? Do we have our first deep touchdown pass of the year because he's looking for Palmer cutting across the field right to left? I think it's all kind of coming together here really nicely in the passing game as well, whether that's Moore, Coleman, Shakir, who's been kind of lost in the shuffle, but we know what he can do right now. Like, it looks like the Bills offense we thought we were going to get, which was a multitude of weapons, and Joe Brady kind of picking whatever he wants and Josh Allen kind of picking whatever he wants.
Yeah, and I mean, the Bills offense was really good. There's a lot of metrics that you could point to and say that they were very good in this game, but I mean, still, you think about some of the opportunities out there with some drops from Dawson Knox that would have extended drives. I thought that was a pretty soft OPI call on Keon Coleman, which was a kind of a really good example of exactly how that skill set could play in this offense. And, you know, I think there should be a lot of excitement in scoring 30 points. Josh Allen doesn't score a touchdown and Khalil Shakir touches the ball one time. That you do, you just have more. You have other ways to get it done. And the Bills showed that against the Jets on Sunday afternoon.
That today that was a little bit different than usual is they got some push up the middle. And I thought that Josh was a little antsy early. He had some people around his feet in pass pro. Usually he can escape up the middle pretty easily. They did a good job other than that one big run of kind of creating some chaos inside where he had some uneasiness, and then they had some spies and things like that. So, again, another game plan by a defense trying to limit rolling out right opportunities and Allen having to find other ways to make plays.
It is the Bill Squad show. We're going to break in, come back, talk a little bit about the defense, bringing the heat. A couple different players deserve call-outs here. Maybe Cole Bishop, maybe Tre'Davious White, who returned as well. So we will, of course, get to that. Jeremy White, Joe Marino, Jerry Ostrowski here, part of the Bill Squad show. And back in a moment with more post-game coverage here on the Locked On Sports Network. Prize Picks. This episode brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. That's how it works when you play with Prize Picks. So here's how it works with Prize Picks. You get football back, and Prize Picks is simple. It's fast. It's a good way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections. You can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. So if you're playing Prize Picks and you want to have fun with the game, it's easy and quick. And here's how it works. Josh Allen, more or less than 270 passing yards in a game. In this game, you would have wanted to be on less because they ran the ball so well. James Cook, more or less on rushing yards. Saquon Barkley in the late game, more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. You kind of put them all together. You get your max discounts. This week, Travis Kelce, they have a max discount that is a half a receiving yard. Go ahead and bet the over on that one. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Back here on the Bill Squad show, Jeremy White, the big O Jerry Ostrowski, and Joe Marino. And we're talking to you about the Bills' dominant win over the New York Jets, a game that saw Justin Fields leave the game and Tyrod Taylor come in. Fields evaluated for a concussion after a big hit from Joey Bosa. Bosa in the backfield, blowing things up left and right, a forced fumble in each game to this point. He has already given Bills fans, I think, a lot of what they could have really dreamed about to get this from Bosa. Can he keep it up the whole season? Can he stay healthy? Guys, I feel like the best approach for that for Bosa is to just not worry about the injury until something happens. Like, sure, he's missed a lot of time, but what the Bills have right here is a real legit pass rusher who is in the backfield quite a bit, and it's no coincidence that he gets to the quarterback quite a bit and makes a lot of plays today. He looked great.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You can tell he's feeling good, and I thought he started to feel good in the playoffs last year for the Chargers. And that Houston game, he was looking like vintage Bosa. And, of course, he had the little calf deal there during the OTAs. But I think the Bills have managed him well. They gave him plenty of veteran rest during the camp and preseason. And Bosa, you could tell, like, he was a little taken back by that to some extent, where he even said, he's like, I'm used to getting a lot more reps at this time of year. But I think there's probably a lot of confidence from the Bills in what Bosa can offer and what he's looking like. And the impact's been pretty obvious through 2 games. He's got 3 forced fumbles in 2 games. I mean, come on now. The guy's been a very consistent threat with how he's rushing the passer. And Gets me excited for where this defense can go once Michael Hoyt is also part of this equation. There's Jerry. I might have taken his talking point there, but I got him to smile. So I'll get out of the way. But I'm excited about Bosa and, of course, where this pass rush can continue to evolve throughout the course of the year.
No, I think the problem for Bosa is people that want to, time management him. He's as good on first and second down as he is on third down. And you can't get him off the field. You want to keep him off the field, but you can't. And no, I mean, he's been awesome. I mean, he is a delight to watch. He brings a true blue 3-down presence at defensive end. You're going to add Hoyt to that, which is going to be big. I thought it was pretty awesome today, pretty telling, and I wanted Joe's opinion on this. They roll out with Deion Walker in the 1 technique and Daquan Jones in the 3. I thought that was a pretty cool way to try to make that run a little bit stouter up the middle for the Bills. Is kind of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for a number of reasons that makes sense. I going back throughout the inventory of the preseason, I remember preseason game 2, preseason game 3, and then last week my commentary on the defensive tackles coming out is I think Deion Walker was a little better than TJ Sanders, and so I think he earned that opportunity to get the opportunity to go ahead of him in this game, and I like that. The idea here was also to call up Zion Logue from the practice squad, who I think was looking pretty strong throughout camp and preseason. And then what that allows you to do is then keep your Sanders Walker rotation going with each other. And then you have Logue and Daquan Jones that kind of work in for each other. I thought that was a good way to approach it. Bills had more size up front for sure with Sanders next to Jones. And I thought they did a good job overall of defending the run, especially after what the Jets were able to do last week to Pittsburgh.
No, Ed
the
Oliver
other
in this
question
game.
I have,
Go ahead, Jerry.
I was going to say this. Do you think that Bosa coming on as a pass rusher and now the Bills getting more pass rush from the outside gives them a liberty to play a guy like Zion Logue more, to where you don't have to – it's okay to play a guy that's just good against the run, and then you can work some other angles with some other people? I mean, I like Zion Logue. I think it's important to have a guy that can be stout in first and second down and let your other guys like Ed Oliver when he's healthy and Bosa take up that pass rush responsibility.
That's an interesting thought. We've never really seen the Bills commit to that, so I think it sounds good. I think they still want that athleticism and penetration style. And I thought Bobby called a great game today. With all 22 will confirm it, but it feels like they had a lot of slanting towards the formational strength. And I thought that put guys into gaps and gave them really good opportunities to kind of just trigger, make it simple, right? You don't have to read everything, just play your gap. And I thought that they got the guys into those positions pretty strong. And I thought that's where a lot of the negative plays came from on early down. So good overall by Bobby in this game. And I am interested to see if they do change anything, because we've never really seen them with a guy like Bosa. And then, the depth, I mean, I know it's in a roundabout way. They have a lot of different skill sets at their disposal at defensive tackle. So maybe this is an opportunity for them to kind of make some changes here.
Bosa with 2 forced fumbles in this game, pretty good for him. And again, harassing Justin Fields throughout the game. On defense, Cole Bishop is your leader in tacklers. He and Matt Milano both had 5. Gentlemen, the safeties and linebackers, we talked a lot about them this week. Granted, it's a different opponent, and the All-22 will tell a different story. But, man, a lot more plays made from those 2 groups in this game than were made against Baltimore.
No question about it. No question about it. They were a lot more eager to play downhill, to be physical. They had some really good schemed up opportunities. I mean, Cole Bishop on his sack, right? He got a sack, right? Yes, he did. Was a really good overload. You got a brand new right side of the offensive line. You got a right tackle in his first ever game. And then Joe Tippmann's at right guard, who's usually their center. Stress that, right? With a different center in there. And I thought some of those overload blitzes to that side made a lot of sense. And boy, Dorian Williams, when that guy goes, my goodness, someone's got to pay for that. I mean, this guy's blowing dudes up. So there was a lot more physicality and intent from this defense. And I don't think you could have asked for a better, like at least off the live watch, bounce back from what this group showed today compared to, the disappointment of last week.
Bill Squad Show here. You can like and subscribe. You can throw a comment our way. We'll get some of your questions in as well. We've got Robert listening from Guam. Love getting up at 3 a.m. for these Bills games. We're global, baby. You can let us know where you are, wherever you might be. And a Sunday 1 o'clock, and easy. I mean, I don't say it was easy for the Bills. They worked really hard. Allen, of course, bloody. It'll be interesting to hear what he says. His side of the story is he got popped in the face by Michael Clemens in this game.
Have you seen those images, Jeremy? I don't know if you've seen any on social media. I mean, the dude's face, the nose is black and blue. It's puffy.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's talking about just some breathing issues as well. I mean, I know he got out of that game, but I don't know what the range of possibilities here are. I mean, they
play Thursday. Yeah,
like Thursday. I don't if it's a fracture like this. I don't know. Swelling. I think there's a lot of layers to this. I'm not trying to create panic, but definitely something to be thinking about here.
No, I wanted the same thing. Like my mind was going to every single possible avenue, including would you wear one of the face guards that NBA players wear? Like I don't know what you would do if it's only a pain tolerance, if it's a risk of re-injury or risk of something more serious. Breathing issues. I mean, that's going to be pretty important for the for QB1. So it sometimes this happens in hockey too. You block a shot with your foot. You can play the rest of the day, and then when you go home, then you might have a problem. And there's some injuries that work that way too, like see how the swelling works. So the Bills are going to maintain that. The Bills are going to work on that. Jerry, how about you on this? Broken nose, like a player, or you ever break a nose? Is it hurt more? Is it swelling more the next day? Is Thursday? Should anybody have any fears about Thursday based on Allen's nose and what happens from here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if it was really, really bad, he'd have been gushing blood like crazy. I know he did have some blood, but you'd have seen more blood out of there, I think, than we did. I think he'll be fine. The hardest part for him is going to be he's going to have to figure out how to tighten that helmet down and keep it from slipping down, because anytime that helmet comes down and hits the bridge of that nose, that's not going to feel good. So they'll figure it out. I'm sure they'll put something over it to try to protect it, but I'm not real concerned about 17. I mean, what was it, 100? What they showed today on TV, 120 some in a row. Now that he's played, that's a dog, man. That's a tough dude. So I'm not too worried about it, but I think he'll be okay.
Was I the only one? Every time they showed that, I thought, all right, we got it. Like, knock on wood. I wanted the announcers jinx for field goals. I was thinking, and then sure enough, like he gets banged in the face. I want to give a shout out to Deion Dawkins for not taking a personal foul in this game because he hates Michael Clemens.
Right.
He's on the record as saying it. Michael Clemens took a roughing the passer and maybe broke your quarterback's nose, and Dawkins did not go frontier justice. And I feel like, I just want to point out that I'm surprised. I thought he might take an opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, especially you have Jermaine Johnson, who played 50 of 56 snaps last week. I mean, it was probably somewhere early in the second half. He was ruled out for the game. So a lot of snaps for Michael Clemens, and credit to the abominable snowman for keeping it between the whistles.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like his head coach might have.
Go ahead,
Jerry.
No, I was going to say I want to pop a bottle of champagne for Cole Bishop that he got a 15-yarder. I mean, he's kind of like
soft,
the kids,
wasn't it? That was borderline.
Yeah, but he's kind of like the good kid in school that never gets in trouble, and he finally got in trouble. I'm happy for him.
We'll take it.
Bills Squad Show, post-game of Bills-Jets. The Bills dominate. We'll keep an eye on the other games for you, too, and things you might need to know about along the way, get your storylines around the league. But it's the Bills moving to 2-0 in a short week, and Miami is up next. We'll get into that a little bit in our final segment. Other players to shout out here. Elijah Moore gets a little bit of a role in this offense, gets a revenge touchdown, using him in the way that Curtis Samuel will be used. No Curtis Samuel yet again, and we might have been getting to a spot where Keon Coleman experienced this last year, guys, where you're not in and things start to kind of go a direction. Yeah. How do you find your way back in? How does Curtis Samuel find his way back into this offense? I mean, it remains to be seen because Moore has been giving them the Curtis Samuel type role.
I had my suspicions that they might rotate those players, like where Samuel was inactive week 1 and Moore played, and I thought maybe it'd be flip-flop this week, but it wasn't the case, and I think obviously Elijah Moore made some really positive contributions. The big 31-yard catch on third down. He had a rushing touchdown. He had another run that went for a first down. I mean, 3 touches, and you got a touchdown and 2 first downs on those plays. I mean, that's not nothing, and the more that continues to happen, the less of an appetite the Bills are going to have to activate Curtis Samuel. And it makes you wonder, is this now a Curtis Samuel versus a Tyrell Shavers conversation? But Shavers obviously is contributing on special teams, and, Curtis Samuel doesn't do that. And there's also the per game active bonus thing that we got to think about with Curtis Samuel, where, the Bills are depleting their own cap space for him to play. You got to put him out there for 10 snaps a game and keep paying on these bonuses. That's going to affect your own cap. I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, but I think you'll have questions about everything as it relates to Curtis Samuel. But right now, he's not making anyone curious about getting him into this lineup.
I really like the tight end group right now. And I want to, my focus is when I look at a guy like Jackson Hawes and what he's brought to this team, it's not just his blocking on the field and obviously caught another pass today. There's a tremendous amount of peer pressure in the NFL. And when Knox and Kincaid watched the film in the meeting rooms and the tight end coach for the 900th time in the last 3 days has talked about that this guy's the best blocking tight end he's seen in however long, it's not a shock to me that you see Kincaid blocking the way he's now blocking and Knox doing the stuff that he's now doing. I think that Hawes has raised and elevated that room, and he's also taken some strain off of those guys to where they're not the ones having to go block the end of the line stuff as much because you have him. So I just think the tight ends, what we've seen out of the first 2 weeks of the tight end room is what I think Brady and this team had envisioned over the last couple of years. They're all healthy. They're all playing together. Their roles are definitely established. I think they've been really good.
Bills run the ball with authority in this game, dominating pretty much from start to finish. 12 rushing first downs. They pointed out on the broadcast the Bills had their 60th rushing touchdown of basically the last 2 years since things have kind of moved in the direction of post-Brian Dable. The Bills are running the ball extremely well. They ran the ball well in this game. 400 yards of offense to the Jets, 154. The Jets 0 for 11 on third down. The Jets could not complete passes. They got one first down from penalty. The Jets did, but 0 for 11 on third down elsewhere. And I feel like one of the conversations to come out of this game is, gentlemen, which version of the Bills defense is the real, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Is it the unit we saw against Baltimore? Is it the unit we see against the Jets today? I mean, it's very likely something in the middle, right? Because this Jets team had a nice opener, but they just don't have the structure. They don't have the talent that Baltimore does. So good to see the Bills do what they do. Should fans readjust their set here and readjust their standards for this defense, expecting these kind of performances week in and week out, or is that too soon?
I think you take the progress for what it is and you're happy about it, right? They played a lot better, but I mean, the point that you made, Jeremy, is that this is a less talented team than Baltimore. I mean, I don't think they have a starting quarterback on the roster, and Garrett Wilson's about their only meaningful skill player, and it's a young offensive line that's had to be reshifted here right at the doorstep of the season. And so I think you are happy that you played well, but I don't think that this fully gets rid of the concerns of the Bills defense. I think it still has to come together. And I think what's exciting about that is, well, you didn't have Taron Johnson or Ed Oliver today. That's pretty meaningful. You're going to get reinforcements in the form of Hoyt, Ogunjobi, Maxwell Hairston. These younger guys, Sanders, Walker, even Cole Bishop, they're gaining more and more playing time and experience, right? There's so many reasons why this is likely to continue to improve. But, yeah, I don't think this is all of a sudden the Bills are going to be a dominant defense, but I think this is a good step in things normalizing and the improvements that I expect to see throughout the course of the year.
Exactly. I think you take the progress for what it is. I mean, you're getting a chance to play a ton of young guys. Guys you drafted are playing meaningful snaps, and a lot of them. And that's what it's all about. You play the games, you take what you've been given, and you go from there. And I think that, as this season builds up, and we've talked about it a million times, Joe, you highlighted it a bunch. This defense will be at its best when we get around week 9, week 10, week 11. And that's, hey, everybody's been preaching to us for what, 2 years now? That's when we want to see this team, peak, is getting ready to go to the playoffs. I think there's a lot of really good stuff to build upon on the defensive side of the ball. You won a crazy war somehow. Granted, it was your quarterback and what they did, but still, and they did. Now you build upon a workmanlike.
We're losing Jerry a little bit. We'll get a quick
day
break
where
in.
you do the things you should do, successes, and that's all you can hope for, and that's what they're doing.
Very good. Get a break in here. When we get back, I got one other thing from the offense that I think is a positive sign. I'll run by you guys. It's the Bills squad show, of course. Bills win. They move to 2-0. We'll play Miami, who is 0-2 after a loss to New England Patriots. Miami loses at home to Drake May and the Patriots. So Bills Dolphins Thursday. It's a primetime game from Highmark Stadium. Of course, we'll preview that along the way. But continue to get your thoughts. Drop us a comment, drop a like, subscribe here to the Bills Squad Show, to the Locked On Bills channel here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Back in a moment. One more thing I saw from the offense that I think is encouraging. We'll get to that next. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all turn to some funny places for advice, your barista, your barber, maybe even a random stranger, but not everyone is the right one when it comes to real support. That's why BetterHelp is here with over 30,000 licensed therapists. BetterHelp and has more than 10 years experience. Will help you find the right match. Some clinically trained and credentialed to guide you through life's challenges. So, it helps to talk to someone that knows what they're doing, that can help you through a situation, and BetterHelp is here just for that. So flexible, you can join sessions online from home or on the go, makes therapy fit into your busy schedule. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. All right, back here on the Bills Squad Show, Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the Big O, Jerry Ostrowski. Guys, one thing I liked in this game, I liked their short yardage ideas, where they've gone to the tush push quite a bit. They did not do that on a 4th and 1 and in close in the end zone. They hand off on a 4th and 1 to Ray Davis. Josh has a little bit of an outside run. Like I just felt like the the short yardage stuff was a little more creative than we'd seen from them in the last however many games, dating back to the Kansas City playoff game, where for a while it was just like, all right, Josh, run left. They had more ideas and they worked.
Well, I think is it 3 or 4 stops on tush push in the last 2 games entering this one, right? So I think you had to come up with some different ideas, and I think you make a good call out here, Jeremy. But I also don't love 3rd and 4 runs up the middle.
Yeah.
That was a frustrating moment in the game. Obviously, no harm, but I would like the process to be a little better there. I think they were expecting at least some level of positive yards to then go for it on 4th down, but when it was 4th and 4, you wind up taking the points. But yeah, it's good to see that be something that has been considered. And, I think that's necessary. You were in a slump, and we didn't need to see that slump continue. Try some different stuff, and we're starting to see that.
Jerry's muted me.
Real quick, a little off topic. I just drove past Arrowhead Stadium on the way back to Tulsa from Iowa. So as a little Italian grandmother would do, I put the Maloik on them, the evil eyes. So we're hoping they'll be 0-3 at the end of the day.
Yeah. Eagles and Chiefs scoreless as of right now, as we're live here on YouTube. Dallas and the Giants are in overtime. It's tied at 37 apiece. So, yeah, like that game's gone nuts. Russell Wilson's gone over 400 yards passing in that game. And the Bills are next up against the Dolphins, who are 0-2. But still a little bit more on this game. Final thoughts as we continue Bills-Jets postgame and things to get to. Guys came under fire last week defensively, right? Sean McDermott in press conferences said it has to be a hard week. He made a point to say he was not happy with the standard of play. And sure, it's a lesser opponent. We could talk about being a tune-up game. But, Joe, I'd imagine you're eager to get a look at the L-22 and really see like which players took that message the most. That it's time to kind of up your compete in a football game.
Well, I think you can obviously feel Bosa, and I think you could feel Christian Benford, some huge 3rd down tackles that he was able to make, some negative plays there. But I do think that the suspects, Milano, Rapp, Bishop, and Bernard, I thought they all collectively played a lot better. I thought you saw Taylor Rapp very willing to fly in there and stick his nose in piles. And I thought Terrell Bernard had a couple of good fills. He had a good tackle along the boundary that, prevented them converting on a 3rd down. Cole Bishop, I thought had some tone setting moments as well. So it kind of felt obvious to me coming out of that watch, like what the problems were. And I mean, even Terrell Bernard normally meets with the media during the week, and he didn't meet with the media this past week. There were some things here that, based on McDermott's comments as well, I think that the right conversations were had, and I think the response was what it needed to be to kind of, like I said on my last podcast, get the stink off them a little bit. And I thought they did, and I'm excited to see the tape, but I think it's going to tell a good story.
I think so, too. I think they did much better this week, especially with the way the Bills front is fitting and they're playing gap control up front. Our linebackers are undersized and run well. They should thrive in this defense if the front defensive line controls offensive linemen and keeps guys off of them. They just really should. And you see the way the defensive line's getting better and better. This linebacker crew should really make a lot of plays. They should have free runs and be able to do a lot of stuff. So hopefully that continues. And, this is something that we see get better each week.
The Bills' run defense responds 100 yards rushing on 21 carries, on 21 attempts for 4.8 yards per rush, but never really a threat in the game. Hall got loose for maybe 1 or 2. The Bills themselves run for 224 in the game. Allen got loose. Cook, of course, got loose a couple times. The leading receiver in the game for the Bills is Josh Palmer, 2 for 47, and maybe could have been more. One spot, guys, where this game is a blowout. It's 30-10, and that's with the Bills going 2 for 4 in the red zone, and also a couple of drives. If you want to talk about missed opportunities, Joe, I know the end of the half is another one, Jerry. The end of the half, you felt like they were going to go in and really land the kill shot there. Instead,
right.
They kind of end up punting. Like, if you're getting nitpicky and whatever, want to go for what didn't go well, like, the list is not long, but there are some pieces in there where there could have been a little bit more efficient of a game.
Yeah,
I think the biggest. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
No, I was going to start talking about the decision to call the timeout. Called the timeout very early when the Bills had the ball. That gave the Jets a chance with 3 timeouts in 50 seconds.
Yes.
And Fields has a big scramble, but then he turns right back into the pumpkin he was the rest of the game, and they wind up not getting any points there. But I think that was something that maybe you wish had a different result. I think the Bills were counting on that was the, if I'm not mistaken, did the Bills had some type of negative play where it was a 3rd and 4 and it turned into 3rd and long after the penalty or the negative play or something like that. So I don't think that was part of the equation. I think they were expecting to, okay, if we throw an incomplete pass here, we'd like to be able to go for it on 4th down and preserve time to score a touchdown here. I think the negative play probably took that possibility out of it,
right.
But
it was the offense. It was the OPI on Coleman.
OPI and Coleman. That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
that doesn't now you go to 3rd and 14. You don't get enough yards. It's not what you want it to be. But I mean, yeah, you're kind of nitpicking. But it goes back to the point that I was trying to make about the maturity of the team. It's like, okay, you just didn't have to do anything crazy. Just let this game come to you, especially based on the way the Fields was playing and the way the defense was playing.
I mean, that's my favorite thing about this team right now. We're nitpicking on certain things. They're playing at the level they're playing at, and they can still get better. I mean, this isn't an end product. This isn't a finished product, and that's you usually don't see that a lot of times in teams that power ranking wise are high as second by most people, 3rd, whatever. It's awesome to watch a team that's got so many young pieces developing. Things are still developing, and they have not hit their apex as far as where this team will be. So, I think these are all positives.
How'd you guys like that OPI call on Coleman? Is that a good by you, or think you should have let him play?
If that's OPI on Coleman, what was that by Hopkins last week on Benford? I mean, I could appreciate how live it probably looked like a pretty big push off, but no, that's just a corner that got twisted up and had a late reaction to the ball and fell all over himself. And it was a great route by Coleman. I don't think that should ever be OPI. No, and I'm trying not to I know that I'm probably unqualified to make this call because I'm a Bills fan or whatever, but I'd want to see a whole lot more contact than that to take away a 3rd down conversion like Josh had to Keon.
One penalty I'd like to point out, Allen, on the roughing the passer call, we can all say it, right? Like, he embellished a little bit, threw the head back a little bit. It's definitely a late hit. I'm not saying, I'm just saying he's very good at making sure the official doesn't miss the call. Like, that's a right. Late hit. That's it. And his job is to make sure you don't miss the call. Whatever. If I'm going to make this comment about other quarterbacks, I got to make it about Josh. If you as a quarterback are able to point to your head before you're finished rolling over, they
probably wasn't very significant.
They should pick up the flag. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you're already like, oh, look what he did, then it didn't hit that hard. It's fine. It's fine. It's a weapon.
I mean, LeBron James is 6'7", 250 pounds, and it's unbelievable the amount of contact that will get him to flat back, right? So
that's right.
That's part of it. You're a star.
Right.
I mean, get the calls, and you're the NFL MVP. You're supposed to be protected. Like, it's the right call. Was it marginal contact? Yeah, but it's the right call.
That's right. The defender can't put themselves in that situation. Right. One other call that didn't get made, I thought, and I'd like to celebrate this moment, Bishop not getting called on that hit on Fields when Fields slid. I want that to be teach tape for officials. Yes. That is a quarterback sliding into contact. And too often that's going to be called a penalty, and it wasn't called a penalty. And I was standing ovation that was not called a penalty, because we've seen these quarterbacks start to weaponize the slide, and Bishop definitely did nothing wrong there. I was very happy about it.
Especially once you're committed to making the tackle and then they slide with that. Come on, there has to be like a reality paid to human movement and what's possible. And I thought that was a good no call for sure.
Yeah. Especially with the way Fields sold it. I mean, he sold it like he was dead.
Yeah.
And they still didn't call it. So, yeah, props to the officials.
Locked On Bills, the Bill Squad show. We're wrapping up Bills, Jets, and get to next week's opponent. It'll be a quick turnaround. It's a short week, so if anybody that's injured will continue to watch, see what the story is on Ed Oliver, on Taron Johnson, who did not play in this game. The Bills are missing a lot of pieces on defense and still managed to shut the Jets down. Back on the other side, we'll dig into the matchup with the Miami Dolphins and put a bow on this one. You can like and subscribe here on the feed and drop a comment. We'll get to some comments as well and hand out game balls as well. It is Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and Jerry Ostrowski here on the Bill Squad show. Hey, Bill Squad fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. You can use my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN. That's code TOUCHDOWN. And get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill-up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, it sounds too good to be true, right? It's totally legit. Real people getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN for a free for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code TOUCHDOWN. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Jeremy White, Jerry Ostrowski, the Big O, and Joe Marino here, wrapping Bills Jets, a win at MetLife Stadium. The Bills have won now 9 of 11 against the Jets. So while we have in our heads the plucky Jets, this and that, like that
right.
kind of doesn't happen that much. Maybe it's just kind of sticks out when they lose a game to Zach Wilson. Holy cow, how'd that happen? So they do the job. And next up, it'll be the Miami Dolphins, who lost today. They put points on the board, but they lost to Drake May and the Patriots, and they are 0-2 coming to Buffalo. And I don't know that Miami's got anybody that's going to save them.
Well, before we get fully to Miami, there's another angle of this game we got to talk about. It's how about these Buffalo Bills special teams? Chris Tabor hit Sean McDermott with a "trust me, bro" on Sam Franklin. So just get this guy in here, please. Get this guy in here. And boy, that's looking like a smart decision. This guy's making impact plays. 3 impact tackles on special teams today. And how about the ageless Matt Prater? 3 for 3 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. He hits it from 52. I didn't know he had it in his bag to hit from 52, but he still at least got the 3-wood, right, Jeremy? I mean, maybe not the driver, but he's got the 5-wood, maybe the 3-wood in there. I thought Cameron Johnson on all 3 of his punts was terrific. 2 inside the 20. I thought the Bills special teams did a heck of a job.
For sure. I mean, it's been huge, the turnaround, and the fact that they're making concerted efforts to bring pieces in that will help and complement, and that's a big deal as well. I mean, not many teams will go ahead and just burn roster spots. You didn't bring up Codrington. I think Codrington's done a great job. I mean, taking care of it. I mean, okay, he's not a burner. Now, like we all remember, Wade Phillips got roasted when he said that the guy that he brought in from Denver that one time was a punt catcher, not a punt returner.
Chris Watson. I will never forget this, Jerry. The greatest punt catcher there ever was.
He goes, well, he's really not a punt returner. He's a punt catcher.
I'm glad you remember that quote. I thought it was the only one that remembered that.
So, but no, I mean, it's just such a huge part of it, and I'm glad to see that they're once again playing complimentary football, boys, and it's good to see.
That's what McDermott wants, right? He's always talking complimentary football. John commented, McDermott not scared to go for it on 4th downs, and Aaron Glenn was. I give McDermott credit. He often will do it. He's not afraid of a 4th and 1, whether it's because the quarterback is so good or whatever it is. Like in a game like this, it feels like it should be easy to go for 4th and 1, and they did. So good for them. Good for the Bills here. There's one other thing I had about this game and the special teams you mentioned. Oh, I know what it was. If you were just locked in on Bills, wait until you see the special teams blunder of the week/year from Caleb Johnson of the Steelers. You guys see what happened here?
No, I didn't see it.
Caleb Johnson. So the new kickoff rule, I don't think this is part of the new kickoff rule. It's just that people don't really know the rules. He let the ball go into the end zone untouched. And the Seahawks just recovered a touchdown. Just a free touchdown for the rookie running back. I mean, blunder of the year, and every special teams coach is showing that this week, right? Like,
100%.
Hey, do not do what Caleb Johnson did. So it could always be worse.
I watched a lot of Caleb Johnson at Iowa, and I'll tell you a thought that never crossed my mind. Kick returner, right? I mean, this guy's a zone runner through and through that doesn't have much gas, right? He's kind of a, not a super explosive back, very good vision and can see it well, but you got to have a little juice to return the ball, and I don't know about Caleb Johnson in that role.
I'm digging this new kick return, man. I was skeptical at first. I really like it. It's exciting, man. It really is.
Well, kicks are getting returned. We saw more kicks get returned in week 1 than any week since 2000, I think is what it was. Average starting field position. Like the kickoff, they have effectively brought it back as a play. It was gone, and it's definitely back. Of course, we'll keep an eye on the Eagles and the Chiefs. If the Chiefs lose to Philadelphia, they'd be 0-2. You got a 2-game lead over Baltimore in the 1-seed race. You got a 2-game lead over Kansas City if they lose. Joe Burrow left today with a toe injury, and Jake Browning actually led the Bengals to a win, so they still beat the Jaguars, but no Burrow. Browning might be one of the best backups. I mean, when he goes in, he actually plays pretty well for them, so we'll see how that goes. Something else to track. And, of course, as we start to turn the page to next week, guys, Miami, right? This is a team the Bills consistently thump, and they might still have some teeth offensively, but I got the Patriots, Drake May throwing all over them. Big plays, explosive plays, and they're 0-2. And Jerry's the old wounded animal cliche, right? Is this that when they're at their most dangerous, when they're 0-2 and nobody believes in them? Because that's probably where Miami sits.
Yeah, I would say so. They're flying the Flyer McDaniel flags over top of the stadium today, renting planes. The Dolphins fans are in full force right now as far as wanting change. Part of me sometimes when I watch McDaniels' press conferences wonder if he even doesn't, pray every morning that they call him in and fire him so he doesn't have to go through another week. But they're still dangerous. I mean, Tua gets the ball out super quick. We know where our soft spots are on this defensive secondary. If they can somehow conjure up the quick passing game and those types of things, they can give us some fits. I think again we'll be able to score and go for them punch for punch. But they still have enough in the tank that they could be an irritant if we let them hang out. And the biggest part of this is it's Thursday night, but it's at our place, not Miami, and that's a huge deal with these Thursday night games. Who plays at home?
Yeah, and I mean the procedural issues that Miami always has on the road. You got to expect Bills Mafia to do their job on Thursday night. The speed always is going to concern me about Miami because I mean the Bills just don't. No team has the athletes to deal with all that speed, and so that big play potential gets you concerned. But that's a right side of the offensive line that's brand new, right? They both lost their starting right tackle and a right guard. They're on IR. So they're going to have to bounce back pretty quickly there. And obviously, I have a million questions about the secondary for the Miami Dolphins. And so you'd like to think that Josh can, set the tone here and in some way open up a game script like this. And if you get Tua in a drop back passing game, it's not as bad as Fields, but if you can get him there, obviously that's not his strength either. And you could tee off on that offensive line. I think an aggressive idea on Thursday night to get a lead and force them to play a game that they don't want to play is probably the plan.
Bills and Dolphins Thursday night from Highmark Stadium, another divisional matchup. Then the Saints and then the Patriots in a primetime game. The Saints today lost to the Niners with a backup quarterback and backup receivers and backup everything. Like the Saints are, it'll be tough for them to find a win this year. We'll see if they do. Final thoughts, guys. Game balls today. I can go first. I mean, it's not exactly a controversial pick or a surprising pick. James Cook. I mean, not only did he run the ball so well and make guys miss, I felt like Cook along the way started to really feel it. He lowered his head a couple times. Yeah, like he's not a guy that is afraid to run between the tackles, I don't think. And whatever, you could just sense that he knew this was his game. He ends up with 132 yards, 21 carries, 2 touchdowns, and both touchdowns were really impressive in very different ways. So shout out James Cook. Game ball from me.
I think you have the right answer, Jeremy, to be James Cook, but I'm not going to just give the same answer. I want to go with Joey Bosa for my game ball. Obviously, the Bills, they forced the 3-and-out on the opening drive, then they score the touchdown. So now that's the dream, right? They go 3-and-out, you get a touchdown, plus you get the ball first out of the half. Like, you are up significant when it comes to possessions. There's only so many of them in a football game. But then the first play after the Bills go 12 plays, 81 yards, and one of the weirdest drives you'll ever watch, the first play is the Joey Bosa strip, right? He comes through and strips that ball away from who had it? It was Fields. He stripped the ball from Fields, and Epinesa is able to recover. And I thought Epinesa did a very good job with his contain responsibility to force Fields to go back in on that play so that Bosa can come in and strip that ball. And then you have a short field. Obviously, the Bills don't get a touchdown after that, but you're up 2 scores. And the whole point that I made all week long talking about this game was get a lead and force them to play a game that they don't want to. And the Bills are able to dictate the game script largely because of that forced fumble, the short field. You're up 2 scores, and the Jets didn't have anything from there.
No, I would have gone Joey Bosa too, but I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go Zion Logue. I think he's a guy that comes off the practice squad. You need him in the couple of passes defended, swats him down. I thought Logue did a great job controlling the middle. Being on the practice squad, you got to be ready to go. He was ready, and I'll give him a game ball this week.
And Sean McDermott, that's a message he's had for guys on the practice squads. We didn't learn a whole heck of a lot in Hard Knocks, but we did catch that little moment where McDermott is talking about being on the team. And, hey, if you're on the practice squad, that means your number could be called. Like, be ready, be ready. And, Jerry, I thought it was one of the coolest things to see from Hard Knocks was a coach treating those practice squad players as important. Like, you're a part of this team even though you're not on the 53.
Yeah, you have the importance during the week of getting the team ready for that week's play and who you're going to go up against, but you also have the added responsibility of being ready physically and mentally when your number's called. And, you saw it today. Zion Logue did a great job of that. You'll see it again many other times during the year. Props to those guys.
Yeah, it takes them all, right? I think I go back to that Week 18 AFC Championship game against the Dolphins where Trent Sherfield makes a crazy play. Deontay Hardy makes a crazy play. Taylor Rapp with the game-sealing interception. It's like you realize that throughout the course of the season, you're going to have a chance to make plays. You have to be able to get them done. And I think this Bills team shines in those moments a lot of times where, all right, here it is, Jamarcus Ingram, you got to start. He picks off Tua twice, right? It has the pick six. You see these things happen from time to time. Cam Lewis last year when Taryn goes down, the way he stepped in the second half against Arizona, and the opener was a big part of why the Bills were able to come back. So you got to have your guys ready to go. And I think this Bills depth shines. Maybe it's not like world-class players, but they step in and they know what to do. And a lot of times they come through and they're ready. And I think that starts with the head coach.
One more award. I'll just give this because I like this stuff myself. I don't know if you guys are all aligned with me. Trash talk, all that. I'm going to give Joey Bosa the hater of the game for the old waving to the fans. I like that stuff. I always like that stuff. And comment here, I was laughing when Bosa started waving goodbye to Jets fans. I also saw a Bills fan in the crowd holding a sign that said, "Josh, we won't leave today," which I appreciated that one as well. So shout out that Bills fan.
And real quick, I learned what this means. When did you see Josh doing the 5 up and then he does the hands like this? When I think it was James Cook scored the long touchdown. Yeah, he puts his hands up and does this. My son got a sack this weekend and did the same thing, and I was like, "What is that?" That's the Lane Frost bull riding celebration. After he would ride for 8 seconds, he would get up and do the 2 hands. So only fitting that Josh would be doing the Lane Frost bull riding celebration.
We're grateful for that nugget. How about both?
We got to start doing it now when we're signing off.
Okay,
we need to end it on that. That should be the end of the show. That was outstanding.
I was going to make a point about Bosa. Like, think about the things that this man has said. Going back to OTAs, he's like, yeah, I've hung out more with my teammates in 6 weeks in Buffalo than I did in 10 years with the Chargers. And then, he comes out after that game and talks about how he's never been so happy after a win. This is not a player that's new into the league. And then he's out there waving goodbye to Jets fans. Like, there is something to this team as a destination, right? You could come and be the best version of yourself is the line that they always preach. But these guys are having fun. Think about the way Emmanuel Sanders talked about his time in Buffalo and Von Miller. Like, it is pretty cool to see this happen. It's a long time from when Tony Gonzalez thought he was traded to Siberia when he had to go to Buffalo.
And, to that point, McDermott, he likes that swagger. He likes them to be like that. He's big on respect the game, which is probably why Dion didn't try to hurt Michael Clemens, right? Respect the game, but don't be afraid to, talk your talk. So, and the Bills, they walk the walk today. All right, we're back before the game. So Thursday night, post-game Bills Dolphins, of course. The game is Thursday. Quick turnaround. We'll have a show in there before that. We decided Tuesday, right? Tuesday we're going to do. So we're back with our weekly edition on Tuesday during the week. So subscribe to the Locked On Bills podcast. Make it part of your routine. Listen every day. Joe's, of course, going to get to a recap of this game, then the All-22. It's a fast week. Right back to it.
Yes.
Right back to it. So
cram it all into 3 days instead of 5. So we'll get after it.
There you go. And that with that, happy Victory Sunday, Victory Monday to everybody out there. And we'll be back later this week. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Much love. Go Bills.
There he is.